What's up, Sleuth Army, and welcome to another video. I'm joined by Detective Pinkie, and today we are going to be looking at the 4 true deep web scary stories.
True. I'm doing
True.
true. Because unless they're gonna provide actual evidence in this that they are true, because they're gonna go, oh, and then the police found them, or then
Yeah, and traced it.
true.
Now, have you ever been to the deep web?
No,
Fair enough.
I am afraid of everything. In normal life, I feel like
You don't need to know about the other life.
adding on more things that I could be afraid of in deep webbiness, where it's all creepy and stuff.
It's not actually that bad.
That's gonna be not good for me. So I've just never done it. Plus, I wouldn't even know how to.
80% is illegal films.
Oh, as in
Yeah, downloaded and
download we used to
pirated
get
copies.
from LimeWire and
Yeah.
stuff.
Most of it is that, and then when they're like, oh yeah, we found this place, chances are you'd never find it again, because the deep web is a series of hyperlinks. You bounce from link to link.
There must be a way to navigate it.
Yeah, there is,
Oh, I was going to say otherwise that's a
but
bit...
you just a standard user wouldn't. Chances are they wouldn't stumble on the same thing twice. There is some drugs, obviously.
What do you mean, some drugs?
Some people selling drugs,
Oh.
and within 15 minutes
taking drugs,
on
I
a
was like, why would I
slow day,
care?
I did manage to find a Glock pistol for sale in the UK. So, but it's one of them things where it's like, yeah, but all because it's there. Anyone could put a site up saying they've got a gun for sale. But we're not gonna go into how you access it in this video.
No.
You just better to stay away.
Well, I don't need to know anyway.
Fair enough.
Not going to be accessing it, am I? Let's be honest.
Right, let's see how true and scary these are. It's supposed to keep you up at night. And today our compilation is by...
It tells you at the start of this video. Be something.
Is it not Bibista?
Be booster?
Be Buster.
Nearly.
Combine them what we both said and we're pretty much there.
G'day mates. So before the video starts, I just wanted to thank Lazy Masquerade for helping me out with this one. It's been great working with him on a couple of videos, and I hope in the future we can do it again.
This guy
Find a
sounds
link below
extremely
to his channel, and I really encourage you guys to go
unenthusiastic.
and check his stuff, as he has a lot of talent and he's
What?
a really top bloke.
He sounds very unenthusiastic.
His most recent
does.
video
Maybe because he's been traumatised by these.
Maybe.
Anyway, without further ado,
I'll turn it off a bit, mine's quite
let's
quiet.
begin.
Number 4. In 2014, after hearing all of the horror stories, I wanted to check the deep web out myself. In a way, I kind of expected nothing other than scam sites for assassins, people requesting CP, and some underground markets. However, I prepared myself for the worst and, frankly, I was more worried about getting in trouble with the authorities rather than having my mind bleached for the near future. Even after 2 to 3 hours of procrastination, nothing prepared me for what I saw. It was during the middle of the day when I began my search. Of course, there's no deep web Google or anything, but rather a wiki with a lot of links. The links are different than the links you may know of. These links have no way of knowing what lays behind them. Just numbers and a .onion at the end. Of course, unless previously defined and listed on the wiki page. It was boring at first. A lot of dead sites, more than expected eBay style markets for weapons, military grade mind you, various services and of course a lot of drugs. I came across a chat room where I saw a darker side of people I never thought was possible. So many people that were mentally ill, threatening others, requesting CP. It was truly disgusting. Think of the people who walk down dark streets of a bad neighborhood, but with anything they desired at their fingertips. hours later, I came across one site that ended my little adventure in the wastes of human consciousness. A cult site, perhaps, with little info other than an email address and some religious mumbo-jumbo. However, there was a video embedded in the site's homepage. Like a naive child, I clicked it without a care in the world. The video was shot on a crappy video camera. Perhaps it was shot in the early to mid-2000s. It was a man with a mask and a knife.
And he was watching this in
As quickly as
2004,
that scene
so
showed up, another presented itself.
he's
He
gonna
was
be
cutting something in a
dismembering
similar
a body
fashion to a
or
butcher.
something.
It was then and there I realised the body was bipedal and without fur. It was a human being.
Told you.
He was cutting the legs at the buttocks level. A new scene shows the decapitation of the
Really?
head. Then another shot of the man with the mask, followed by a picture of a church with a weird symbol. This was a cult recruiting website. It was
That's your
followed by more
recruiting
bodies
video.
being cut up and hung in ways more gruesome than you may expect. Shortly after, I turned my computer off, and I stayed away from it for quite some time. This was my first and last visit to the deep web. I have never contemplated going back since.
Number 3.
I have no opinion of that.
Web pages were, for the most part, still very basic HTML and JavaScript.
No, it's easy to
Hardly
fake.
anyone used CSS. Only discussion boards and some banking sites had anything approaching mature front-end, back-end combinations. This is a real deep web story, not
Don't
just
miss
one
doing
about
coding.
innocent activities online.
I'd love to
I
be
was
a bit of
browsing random
HTML.
blogs, GeoCity sites, and the like, just going from link to link.
Yeah, but we primarily did
Eventually I came
Linux.
upon an odd page. It appeared to be random thoughts from different people, but for the time it was very well designed. Eventually I came upon an odd page. It appeared to be random thoughts from different people, but for the time it was very well designed. The messages seemed to be cryptic in nature, like several people trying
Did
to
we just have a
pass
glitch in the
signals.
Matrix? What was that?
I started
He's just
through the
repeating
source,
himself, right?
I'm pretty sure.
reviewing the
Like,
comments of the JavaScript
identically.
of the various IP addresses.
But like
I
seamlessly.
gathered all the IPs in a
Fit in
text file
together.
and began enumerating them. Some were routers with banner messages I could telnet to, almost all at universities. The default Cisco credentials from back in the day worked on most of them, but I didn't poke around. A few of the IPs were web servers with little to nothing on them, mostly APAC or Linux or some BSD, at least one IIS server I can recall. I finally came up on a web server with a huge directory of HTML files and TIFF images, with a few smaller subdirectories containing the same. NSLOOKUP returned no reverse records for the IP. A visual route traced it as far as Colorado. The HTML files appeared to be records a psychologist or similar mental health professional would keep. The images were of faxes, apparently of both military and medical nature. As I browsed from a subdirectory back to the parent, at the top was a new HTML file named something like 1-hello-there.html. The timestamp
Something
was from
like.
right that minute. I opened it, and in plain text was the message, "We see you." No quotes, all lowercase. About 15 seconds later, the server dropped.
Number 2.
Well, that was
Back
still
when I
number
was a
one.
freshman in high school, I had a
No,
MySpace
that was
page.
number
Oh,
it's
4,
kind.
3, 2.
One evening, I got a friend request from some hot chick. She messaged me.
It's
So far, the creepiest thing has been the weird repeating of that sentence.
it's very easy to know when someone's on your site. If you run a site and you're that site manager, then you know how many users are active on that site. So you could easily have just looked and gone, "Oh, someone's here. I'm gonna put a creepy message to them or whatever." You know, just going, "Oh well, we see you." They're going with the like
I'm
unfriended
still
to
doing the-
vibe. True.
True.
And after a little bit of talking, she suggests that we trade nudes.
Oh yeah.
Being a stupid 14-year-old, I thought, fuck yeah, this is going to be awesome. So I take a few pics of myself and she
No.
sends me some nudes of her own.
No.
They'll just
Things
be
are
off the
going great.
internet.
Out of nowhere, I get a message on AIM from someone I don't know, basically saying,
Oh.
hey, I have those naked pictures of you. If you don't talk to me, I'm going to send them to everyone on your friends list. I start freaking out. I have no idea what to do, so I just start talking to him.
Call the police.
At first, he tried saying he was a guy from my high school, a senior. He demanded that I get on my computer every night at 9 PM and talk to him, or else he was going to show everyone
Is
my
that
naked
him?
pictures. This goes on for a few
That's
weeks,
like-
and things start getting progressively
know.
worse. By now, I know he's not from my high school. He's an
You
adult
think?
and a complete psycho.
You think?
One night I was at a friend's house, and the only person at home was my sister. She calls me and says that some guy called the house and insisted on talking to me, and got very angry when she said that I wasn't home. A few nights later, I was not able to get on the AIM until midnight, and the first thing that he messages me when I sign on is, I've been sitting in front of your house, admiring your Winnie the Pooh flag, and trying to look into your bedroom window. I freaked the
Friend,
fuck
go
out.
away. Yeah.
My mum always puts up seasonal flags, and so we had some cheesy Winnie the Pooh Valentine's Day flag out on my front door. Up until this point, I hadn't
Tell
told anyone about
Your
this guy.
parents?
I was just hoping he'd go away. So I wake up my brother and tell him what's going on.
Don't tell your brother.
He insists that we call the police, but I was
Yeah.
convinced I could get him to stop bothering me, and the police weren't necessary.
When you haven't been
So
able to
he
stop
goes and wakes
until
up my
this point.
parents, and I tell them exactly what's been going on. My mum immediately freaks out, rightly so, and calls the police.
There we go.
The police come, and I talk to them for a little bit, show them some of the messages that he would send me, and they made a report of it. From that night on, I just
speaking very
completely
proper.
ignored him, and accepted the fact that the world was going to see me naked. I got several messages over the next few months from girls who would randomly message me my pictures. I was super embarrassed and dreaded going to school. The guy would tell everyone that I sent the pictures to him and that I was gay, etc., etc. At that age, that sort of thing can really fuck with you.
To be fair, I don't know that I'd feel good.
Fast forward to my
I mean, I wouldn't
senior
have got
year
in
of
that
high school,
situation.
and all of this had blown over.
Well,
I did a good job forgetting how this guy tormented me, and things were really going well for me. Until one night at a football game. I'm walking into the concession stand with a group of people, and a random man comes up to me and says, "Somebody wants to talk to you under the bleachers."
on the bleachers?
My
Definitely
heart
not.
goes into my chest,
No.
and I immediately
No.
say, "I don't want to talk to anyone." Keep in mind, this was almost 4 years after the incident, but it was always in the back of my mind that he would come looking for me one day,
So is it? It's
and I
18
knew
now.
it was him.
But that
even
would
though
beat
I'd
the
never met
living
him.
whatever out of you
could
now.
just
Yeah,
tell
I'll
by
take
way
the
that he
group
was.
Yeah.
and
It was
go,
him.
I'm gonna beat you.
Everyone asks me what that was about, and I give them a quick rundown on who I think that was. We all head back into the stands, and another friend of mine comes running up to me and says, "Hey, this weird guy is standing in the bathroom showing people naked pictures of you." We're sitting next to a teacher
You
of
would
mine
take
who
your
overhears
friends.
this, and he immediately calls the police and runs over to the bathroom to try and catch the guy.
The teacher's like,
The guy had already left, but I gave a description of him to the police, and some concerned parents saw what he was driving when he left. I didn't sleep at all for the next few days.
that's
I was
mental, isn't it?
absolutely terrified this guy would come to my house looking for me.
I'd be like, yeah, come to my house.
I couldn't believe this fucking weirdo was still
No.
after me.
Baseball
After
bat.
4 years.
But after a few months, nothing else happened, and I began to forget about him.
Again, after
At
4,
the
he
end
waited
of
4
school one
years
afternoon
last
in
time.
the spring of my senior year, I get called into the dean's office. There are several police officers and a detective.
You'd be
They
like,
tell me they've
oh,
caught the guy that's been harassing me, and that he's been doing similar stuff to other kids at the school for quite some time. He'd been in jail before for sexual assault against a minor, and a laundry list of other crimes. The
Who
cops
say
found
I'm
literally
some laundry?
gigabytes
I
of
was like,
child
"Oh."
pornography on his computer, as well as tons of evidence of his obsession with me. After a lengthy trial, he's now locked up until 2037, and hopefully out of my life forever.
Number 1.
see, that one was a bit like,
Mm.
this, there was a lot of detail, a lot
I
of
think I should
evidence.
explain to some readers the difference between the deep web and the dark web. The deep web is a place that is accessible online by the use of special web browsers such as Tor that contains less than legal things such as drugs, human trafficking, and hitmen for hire.
This is true.
The dark web is pretty much everything that is no longer available by conventional means,
Also,
such as military websites
fake
and other
documents
sites that have not been incorporated
to get into
the
different
current
countries are
internet
available.
architecture. With that in mind, I would like to convey to you all my story of my accidental journey into the unknown space that is the dark web. I'm a computer technician by profession. I work for a company that is contracted by local businesses and private consumers to set up internet connections, install software, and repair any sort of computer problems that may come up. So naturally, I get all kinds of crazy
Have you read some of these? Will kick someone in the nuts for $100 to $200.
I'll do that for free.
Weapons for sale. Need weapons, not a basic submachine gun. But then there's normally ones like the board. Can't be serious. Assassin for hire. Philippines and rest of Asia. Package sent anonymously. Hitman in Europe. Will somebody please kill Moot?
Who's Moot?
I don't know, but Paul. Imagine he watches this video and he goes, what? Drug cartel. Open for contract. Australia. Multiple assassination services across the US. Drug cartel.
Oh.
Mainland UK. Need a job
stories
done in
and
Western
problems that
Europe.
these people can come up with. I swear some of these people just don't know how to work
A lot of them are by the same
in this
person.
day and age. Anyway, one day I get a call
Woot's
from a local
going mental.
business complaining that their internet is acting up and that they must have a virus. So I shake my head thinking that someone must have unplugged a network cable or downloaded a Trojan horse accidentally. As soon as I arrive, the man who called me immediately spots me and starts going on about hackers and how much he hates Microsoft Windows and how many viruses it creates and all that nonsense that I usually receive when addressing business problems. He leads me to his computer and I pull out my laptop and sit down in front of it and begin to work. He tells me good luck and walks away to do whatever it is he does in his downtime. I open up the browser he uses, and to no surprise, it opens to a blank page. He doesn't even have a home page at this stage. So I try connecting to google.com, and there's a 404 error. Alright, well, I know that google.com definitely exists, so there's a problem with this internet connection. I open his network and sharing center to see if I can use the built-in troubleshooter to diagnose the problem. But I give myself a well-deserved facepalm when I see that he isn't connected to any network at all. So I search for networks and find a few wireless connections for him to connect to. They're
You
all
should have a
WEP
connection at work.
encrypted, and I'm almost positive that he doesn't know the key. So I break out my laptop and run a WEP cracking tool to get his computer up and running again. As I'm waiting for my tool to find the WEP key, another network suddenly shows up on my computer. This one unprotected with an SSID consisting of a random hexadecimal string. Now, I'm extremely bored waiting for this guy to return, so I decide to connect to it and take a little look around to see where this was coming from. I connect without problems and open up my toolkit of cracking tools to see if I can find the source for this connection. As I'm having fun,
Why is he
hacking away at this unprotected network,
bothered about
my computer freezes up.
If it's his job
Albeit
to
only
be
for a second.
fixing this
Fixing
dude's
things.
computer and
This
he's now
doesn't happen
hacking a
much, and it
network.
caught me by surprise. I shrugged it off as the poor internet speed and kept on going. A couple of minutes later, however, it happened again. And a few minutes after that, once again. Each time getting longer and longer. Weird, I thought to myself. What's with this network? It was then that things started getting really interesting.
An IT expert
After
manages to
the
get
long
himself
string of
hacked
pauses,
because he connected
the
to an
screen
unprotected
flicked a little
network.
bit, and out of nowhere, my browser opened by itself. Now I was worried that I had somehow infected my computer with some kind of malware by connecting to this network.
You
I
think?
proceeded to close the browser and began to disconnect from the network.
That's not going to do it.
Worse could happen.
You've already let them in. They're already
Couldn't
controlling
disconnect.
your laptop.
No matter how many times I clicked the little disconnect button, the computer didn't respond, despite despite everything else on my screen running fine. Shit, I thought to myself. This is going to be a long day.
Well,
And just as I was about to
kinda
hit the
serves you
power
right.
button on my laptop to perform a hard reset, my browser opened again. This time with a little chat box opened. Hello? I stared at the screen for a couple of seconds, not quite knowing what was going on. I want to talk to you. Now, I heard about these AI programs that have all these program responses to simulate conversation with people, and I was not impressed. This was one nasty virus. You need to leave this network now. This is your last warning.
I'm like, I was trying. You won't let me disconnect.
Maybe an automated security program designed to keep hackers out. I'll have to admit, I was impressed with it. I'd never seen anything like this before. I'm telling you one last time, leave now.
Just leave the network.
I don't know what
I
made
would
me
be like,
do
I
it,
was trying,
I
friend.
responded to the program, or what? The next response scared me more than anything in
He was
this
too
world.
confident in his hacking skills.
The program began listing information about me. My name, address, telephone number, credit card information, my parents' names, their
Yeah,
addresses.
You're doing it on your work
My
laptop.
heart sank in my chest and all the colour immediately left my face. I couldn't move. I just sat there, paralysed with fear.
I'd move to leave the
What
network.
came next was even worse. Don't look at me like that. My webcam was on. You really shouldn't stare, H3Man4694. You might see something you regret. Suddenly, the most horrifying images you could ever imagine flashed on my screen. Images of disemboweled humans, human sacrifice, detached limbs, cannibals eating people, videos
So it was
of
on Reddit
mass
50/50.
suicides and firing lines. My heart was racing. My body was shaking in utter fear of the images I was being shown. They seared into my brain. These were things that no one should ever see. I mustered the strength I had left and hit the power button on my computer and slammed it shut. I ran to the bathroom and threw up a couple of times. I was drenched in sweat. I could barely compose myself. It took me about 20 minutes to go back to my computer, and even then I had a hard time getting near it. I looked over at my client's computer and it was connected to the wireless network I was cracking earlier. It was working fine now. Just
Well done.
then, my
Problem solved.
client returned and thanked me for fixing his internet. I didn't say anything. I just grabbed my laptop and left. G'day mates. Thanks for watching the video.
Well, the first two I was not impressed by.
The one with the guy with the paedophile man, that was creepy. But
Yeah, that
then
was
most
weird.
paedophiles are, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't
I've
think
never
I've
known
come
of one
across
and
one where
gone,
I'm going, oh no, you're alright.
No, he doesn't seem that creepy. He seems like a nice chap. Do you know what I mean?
Other
like
than the touching kids.
yeah, I've never really felt that. So it's creepy, but it's not unheard of, even on normal,
Yeah, it's not
like
that
normal
he
internet.
had to be on the dark web for
He
it.
didn't have to be on that because he could have just there were so many
He
like
could have
catfish
pretended to be
accounts.
a female on any
Yeah.
internet.
I think that's pretty much a standard MO for. Look at me using police terminology. That's because I'm a detective.
It is true.
That's standard MO, modus operandi
Well done.
for these type of criminals is to pretend to be someone else. That's their whole thing. Because if they were like, "Oh, hello,
I'm a 43-year-old man and I
I'm a
want to see you
43-year-old
naked."
man. Please send me pictures of you naked." Then most people,
Would go, oh,
especially children, obviously, would go, "I think I will pass. I'll do a solid pass on
yeah,
that."
I'll say no.
However, if they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a 15-year-old girl. Look, send
Let's
me
trade."
pictures." Yeah, then they're more likely to give you that information, aren't
To
they?
go, oh well.
So yes, it's creepy and horrible that that person went through that, but I don't think that needed to be through the dark web or anything like that. I don't think that was. And then
No.
that last one, I mean,
This,
first off, why wasn't he just doing his job?
Second of all,
Who's got the time to be sat there faffing about
hacking an unknown network just
on
because
your
it
work
didn't have a key.
computer
Yeah.
as well? Not even on your own. So if you like put something on there, your work computer is going to be linked to the network. One would assume. So you could take down the entire network through your
But yeah.
idiocy.
And then like, you don't have to be on the dark web to have fun. What are you doing, Mel?
He's like, Mel is curled up in the tightest little ball.
Yeah, he just got up so he could re-curl up.
Just adorable.
But people taking control of webcams and all that kind of thing, you hear stories of that anyway.
Yeah, again, it doesn't
It's
need
just
to be in the dark.
virus. It's
Yeah.
just a virus. You don't have to get it from the dark web. And the thing is that, oh, I saw these horrific images. Reddit would have the capability to find you those.
I mean, who's to say? I mean, I'm not saying
So
that
with
they weren't
LiveLeak-
horrific, but how he could, we don't know what he's seen previously. So, for example, somebody that has not seen a film like Cannibal Holocaust, just as an example,
wouldn't necessarily.
they wouldn't necessarily know, oh, this is fake. This, if I just randomly sent them some
A clip of
horrific
it.
clip from that, they
There's
would be
plenty
absolutely
that could look
traumatized,
real.
going, oh my god, like, I've just seen
Cannibal
doing,
footage.
like doing something really horrific, when actually it's not real. Do you know what I mean? So like, there's the option there that, yeah, okay, you may have seen horrific images, but they might not necessarily be real. Him going, oh yeah, I saw like disembodied heads or something. It could just be from some footage that he's never seen before. So I'm not necessarily buying into the fact that these were images, legit images that he was being sent. I think it was just possibly stuff that he'd never seen before.
Fair enough. Well,
And none of those were like
terrifying. I'm not quaking in my boots.
Well, I mean, like the one about the guy, the paedophile, yes, probably is true.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. That's probably like, I'm assuming that was a picture of him, and not that that is like slandering some poor innocent man
Yeah, it'll be a picture of him.
who is not guilty at all, and they're like, oh.
So, yeah, they were alright. They were pretty easy to see where they were all going. I would say
Yeah.
they always seem to be the same thing on the stories of the deep web. But
I think it's like what we were saying the other day on one of the other videos, where it's like they stick with themes. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like it's always going to be like, oh, assassins, oh, cannibalism, oh, whatever else.
but we've had a look at 4 true stories from the dark web. We hope you've enjoyed. If you have, what do they need to do?
If you have enjoyed this video, I would very much suggest and appreciate if you drop it a like and hit that red button. It is red, isn't it?
It is red.
To subscribe to the channel to see all the other.
The rumours are it
ones.
makes a funny noise when you click it.
Does it? Sure. And also click the little bell.
Ding,
Ding-a-ling.
ding.
Oh, we went different bell noises there. You were traditional. I was like ding-a-ling, and I was like, yeah, ding-a-ling-a-ling.
You like Monty Python?
So that you can be notified when we put up another video. We're going to be putting regular videos out, so there should always be new content coming to the channel. Also, if you look below here, you can follow us at twitch.tv/.
twitch.tv/inspector_sleuth.
As below. For regular streams, we stream multiple times a
stream
week.
4 times a week.
4 times a week. Various different games. All sorts of craziness goes over there. You can chat to us live. I'm usually in chat if I'm not on the actual game as well.
I'm always on the actual game, so
Well, it's his channel, so yes, he's always on the actual game. And yeah, you can interact with us, become part of the Sleuth Army.
Alright guys, we shall see you next time.